Welcome to an episode of Saints and Songs. In this series, we discuss a different saint in each video, telling their story or my experience with them. And then there's a song written by me about that saint or written to that saint, and we play that song. In this particular video, we'll be discussing the following great saint. Saint Catherine of Siena. And guys, this isn't actually her feast day. And I don't know how professional this is going to be today. I might even burst into tears in the middle of this video. I'm just going to talk from the heart today. So let me tell you what happened to me. I made a mistake when I looked up the saint of the day today. The saint of the day is Saint Catherine of Siena, who I don't know. And I'm going to spend some time later today reading about her life and reading about her and getting to know her. I immediately just thought that it was Saint Catherine of Siena as soon as I looked it up. And I was like, oh, wow, that is one of my favorite saints. So what's going on right now, one of the reasons that I'm emotional right now, is that I just spent the last few hours writing a song to St. Catherine of Siena. And I'm going to close this video with that song that I created for St. Catherine of Siena. My lyrics, I can't sing or play music, so I have to use AI. But what my process is that I write all my own lyrics. And then I go in and I tell the AI engine the style of music that I want, the style of singing that I want, what instruments I want. I create it. And then I never like what it creates the first time. And I always have to go in and change my instructions, and I have to keep changing things around. And sometimes after several tries, I finally come up with something that I like. I'll usually edit my lyrics too, some after I hear them put to music, because it might be, some lines might sound too wordy to come out melodically or something like that, and so I'll change it around. But I'm so close to St. Catherine of Siena, and I pray to her so often, yet I had never written her a song before. So just this process of writing her a song was very, very emotional for me. So I hope you'll look to the end of the video, and I hope that you'll enjoy the song that I wrote for. I'm not going to go into a ton of stuff about her date of birth and her date of death and stuff like that. I'm going to talk more about who she really was and some experiences that I've had in life in prayer to her. And also, I'm probably going to tick some people off, quite frankly, because when I talk about St. Catherine of Siena, there's two different groups that tend to get upset. One is a group of people that I really don't like very much. And they'll be like, she was not a great saint. Don't talk about her like she was a great saint. She was insane. She was clearly schizophrenic. She clearly suffered from anorexia nervosa and self-hatred. She starved herself to death. She beat herself. And she's a horrible example for modern women and da-da-da. And I don't really care about offending those people too much. They're so confused. But there's another group of people that really, really love St. Catherine of Siena who will also get offended when I talk about her. Why? Because I do think St. Catherine of Siena was mentally ill. I think there may have been some hallucinations, and I think there was definitely some anorexia. But you see, whereas they'll say, no, you can't say she was mentally ill. She was a great saint. How dare you? How dare you? She didn't have anorexia. She had the miracle war. All she had to do was receive the Eucharist. They immediately get very angry at me. But they kind of show their prejudice there. You see, what they think is they think that somebody can't be mentally ill and yet be one of the most wonderful people that ever lived. They think that somebody can't be mentally ill and be given visions from God. They think that somebody can't be mentally ill and be a truly holy saint. And I think we sell the real St. Catherine of Siena short if we don't tell the full story about her when we talk about her. And as far as this idea of her, the miracle of her only being able to survive off only the Eucharist, no, she starved to death at 33. She basically died of starvation at the age of 33 years old from not eating. And anytime she would try to have anything other than the Eucharist, she would vomit. She would get nauseated and she would vomit when they would try to force her to do it. And she did, which was more common in that time and looked at more favorably at that time, wear chains that cut into her flesh and do a whole lot of other things. But that doesn't mean she wasn't a holy person, and that doesn't mean she was a great saint. She may have had some hallucinations. That doesn't mean she didn't have visions from God. A person can be mentally ill and have hallucinations and still receive visions from God. And when I have read St. Catherine of Siena, I'm absolutely convinced of her brilliance, and I'm absolutely convinced of her holiness. And she's been declared a doctor of the church, one of the few women that has been declared a doctor of the church. There's only 35 doctors of the church, I think, and I forget how many of them are women, maybe a half a dozen or so. I'd have to go and look that up and check. And I don't dispute her brilliance, I don't dispute her holiness, and I don't dispute her doctrine. But I also, when I pray to her and I read her life, I think that a part of her cross was mental illness that I think she suffered from. And I don't think it's putting her down to say that. I think it's building her up. I think it's saying that despite those struggles, she was still a great, great saint. Now, she pledged herself to God and to be a virgin at a very young age. I think she was about 7 years old when she did, before she probably really even have a full understanding of what that was. Her parents very much opposed her in this and wanted her to get married later, but she refused and she stuck to her guns, and she remained a virgin. She was never taught to read or write, but she ended up writing absolutely brilliantly, and she ended up learning scripture better than most scholars. She was a mystic who had incredible experiences in prayer. She was a stigmatist who suffered the wounds of Christ and suffered very, very terribly. She fought off demons. In an age when women did not become powerful and famous, I think it's 1200s if I remember correctly, she became one of the most famous women in the world, and she became an advisor to bishops and popes. In fact, she told one pope to be a manly man and go back to Italy, and not to stay outside of Italy. And she was not afraid of standing up to the bishop. She was not afraid of standing up to Pope. She stood up to another bishop who she let know that, hey, I know what you've been doing, and you've been basically embezzling money and living like a king. And he repented after she called him out publicly. One of the kind of grosser stories about her, but that always impressed me greatly, there's a woman who was dying, and she was not only kind of a very nasty woman that no one liked, but she also stunk quite badly. She had wounds from the breast cancer under her breast, and she stunk very badly, and nobody would help her. And St. Catherine of Siena started going over to the house every day and cleaning the wounds and feeding her and taking care of her. And then in a fit of passion, one day when she was horribly disgusted by the smell of the wounds and tempted to stop doing what she was doing, her way of saying yes to God and refusing to let Satan get in there was to drink the foul water that she had just cleaned the woman's infected wounds with. And so she guzzled down that water very, very quickly. St. Catherine of Siena, read her dialogues, read her biography. Get to know her if you don't know her, and pray to her. You will have powerful experiences in prayer with St. Catherine of Siena. She tells a story of dough that never ran out in her house at one point when they were short on money, and the dough should have run out, but miraculously more dough just kept appearing every day. Something similar happened, I think, with wine, and she also had this mystical experience where Mother Mary came and literally was with her and helped her make bread. And at the time that I was reading this story, I was working part-time at this pizza place, and I hated making the dough. I just despised making the dough. It was my most despised part of that job, and it was something that I had to do every day. And so, kind of following the example of St. Catherine of Siena, I started to pray to her and ask her to help me make the dough. And I would pray to Mother Mary, and I would ask Mother Mary to help me make the dough. And whether I was having bipolar psychotic experiences, or whether I was having great mystical experiences, or whether both would happen, basically, in my mind, I would see Mother Mary there with me, helping me make the dough, and I would see St. Catherine of Siena making the dough. And Jesus would show up with Mother Mary sometimes, and he'd be a little boy, and he would be helping make the dough, but then he would like knock over the flour on the floor, and there'd be a big mess. And people would be looking at me in the back in the kitchen, and I'd be laughing, and they'd say, "Why are you laughing? You just made a mess." And I'd say, "Jesus just knocked over the flour and made a mess." And of course, they thought I was completely insane. And maybe I am. And maybe I was. Don't know. I know that for me, it was a very, very holy experience in that I went from hating making the dough to dedicating making the dough to God, praying for Catherine of Siena to come and help me make the dough, praying for Mother Mary to come and help me make the dough. And in my mind, they were there helping me make the dough. And sometimes St. Therese showed up, and sometimes other great saints showed up. And so it was just, it was a very, very beautiful experience for me. Her dialogue is so rich. Her theology is so outstanding. And her mystical experience is so extreme that I can't even begin to do them justice in a short video, so I'm not going to try. And I'm pretty much going to cut it off and get into the song that I wrote about her, but I'm very much going to encourage you. Read the life of St. Catherine of Siena, written by, oh my God, I should have looked that up. I'm forgetting his name now. But he was actually one of her confessors that wrote one of the earliest hagiographies about her. And make sure you read her dialogues, and make sure you get to know St. Catherine of Siena. Today's not her feast day, and I apologize to St. Catherine de' Ricci, who I will be studying about and learning about later. But for now, let's just enjoy the song that I wrote to St. Catherine of Siena, and then we'll just close in prayer to Our Lady. And I'll be back and see you guys tomorrow. I've already done tomorrow's video. Hey, I had to do it on St. Valentine. It's St. Valentine's Day tomorrow, so I had to do it on St. Valentine. And I've already done that, but that won't be released until tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Here's the song.
Suffering deeply, a holy flame, Saint Catherine, we call your name. With courage bold, you stood so tall, a doctor of the church who answered the call. You bore your wounds, a stigmatist's grace. Through trials fierce, you ran the race. With every tear, you fought the fight. A woman strong, a beacon of light. Oh, Holy Catherine, pray for us. In faith we rise, in you we trust. You faced the demons, you stood your ground. In your prayers our strength is found. Oh, Holy Catherine, pray for us. In faith we rise, in you we trust. You faced the demons, you stood your ground. In your prayers our strength is found. Oh, Saint Catherine, our guiding star, lead us forth, no matter how far. With love and courage we'll follow your way. In praise and worship we lift you today. Bishops, the Pope as well. With words of truth your heart did swell. Be a manly man, you called out clear. In trials and triumphs you held no fear. Oh, Holy Catherine, pray for us. In faith we rise, in you we trust. You faced the demons, you stood your ground. In your prayers our strength is found. Through trials of life, even through horrific self-inflicted pain, you drank a chalice of infection and cancer, bore every stain. With eyes on Christ, you show the way forever, with us guiding each day. So here we stand, united in grace, inspired by you, we find our place. Oh Saint Catherine, your legacy lives in our hearts, your love gives. Oh Holy Catherine, she who was not prayed for us, to he who is in Jesus we place our trust.
Thank you for looking at this Saints and Songs video. Please look at the next Saints and Song video. And please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's close in prayer to the greatest saint ever, whose glory is beyond that of any other mere human or any angel, our Mother, Mary. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen.